To Save a Life, based on a true story. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. April 23rd, 2006, 44th Street and 5th Avenue, New York. The Big Apple. 2:47 p.m. Two lives intertwined. Drew Milestone and Thomas Summerfield were students of the law of attraction. And as a result of today's brief encounter, they would understand the law of attraction was the reason one of them would save the other's life. It was a normal Sunday afternoon for Drew, a common man seeking to while away the time on an undarkened spring day in Richmond Hill, Queens, New York. At 12:35 p.m., as if magnetically plucked from his ground floor apartment, an indescribable force whisked him away to the corner of 108th Street and Liberty Avenue, climbing the stairs and boarding the A train to Manhattan. Thomas Summerfield, a native of Sydney, Australia, was vacationing in Manhattan with his wife, Jillian, and two daughters, Brenda and Susan. This was the final day of their vacation, and at noon, they were enjoying a peaceful and relaxing visit to Bryant Park at 42nd Street. At 12:55 p.m., Drew arrived in Penn Station and floated up the stairs to street level at 34th Street. He looked in either direction and turned left, not knowing just why, simply following his instincts to walk uptown to 57th Street and stop at Central Park. Finding a comfortable location in the Sheep Meadow area of the park, Drew sat there observing the children playing, families picnicking, people relaxing. Drew was altogether out of his element, wondering why on earth he chose this path today. So un-Drew-like. The universe will reveal the reason soon, but not yet. If you're still with me, please keep listening. It gets better. At 1 p.m., after building up an appetite, the Summerfields walked up to 47th Street to enjoy a late lunch at a well-known Italian eatery. Midway through the meal, it was obvious that Thomas had far too much to drink. Jillian warned him to be careful, telling him, "You might have trouble walking, my love, and might need someone to lift you up and save your life. And it won't be me." Thomas just smiled and said, "Don't worry, my dear. The universe will protect and save me. The universe is never late. Truer words were never spoken." A At 2:40, the Summerfields left the restaurant and headed downtown. Gillian and the children were enjoying the walk, but Thomas was obviously struggling to keep his balance due to his extreme alcohol consumption. In other words, he was drunk as a skunk. They reached 44th Street and 5th Avenue and stood in a crowd of people waiting for the light to change from red to green. At 2:27 p.m., Drew felt a strong desire to leave the park, as if being manipulated once again by this universal force to go back home. He began retracing his steps, walking downtown on 5th Avenue, and came to a stop at 44th Street and 5th Avenue. He stood in a crowd of people waiting for the light to change from red to green. At precisely 2:47 p.m., two lives intertwined. Drew and Thomas stood side by side, shoulder to shoulder, as per the universe's master plan. Everything around them both seemed to transform into a slow-motion movie set. Quiet on set. Roll sound. Scene 1, take 1. Action! Thomas caught Drew's eye as he put his foot into the street, followed by his entire body. As crosstown traffic moved from right to left, a black Cadillac hearse leading a funeral procession was approaching, as though coming for Thomas. Was this a sign? An omen? A premonition? Instinctively, Drew reached his arm out across Thomas's chest and snatched him safely, lifting him back onto the sidewalk. Had he not done that, Thomas would surely have been roadkill. History, as dead as a doornail. Thomas, who was obviously feeling no pain, stared at Drew for a few seconds, and although he was unable to speak, his eyes and facial expressions said it all. I was waiting for you. I knew all along the universe would send someone to save me. Thank you. The universe is never late. The light turned green and the motion returned to normal speed. At that instant, Thomas staggered across the street with his family, leaving Drew standing there and shaking his head in disbelief. Cut! This life-saving experience could not have lasted more than 15 seconds. It was as if nobody else saw that Drew performed this heroic, life-saving act. He felt invisible, standing there in shock, thinking, I can't believe it. I saved this drunken fool's life, and he just walked away down the street as if nothing ever happened? Maybe Drew wanted to be recognized. Perhaps he wanted everyone to say, Look at the hero, look at the guy who saved another man's life. What a great man, what a good Samaritan. Let's give him the keys to the city. Let's have a ticker-tape parade. But no, not a peep, nor a glance. From that day forward, Drew would relentlessly retrace the critical timeline of that day. Beginning at 12:35 p.m. when he left his apartment until 2:47 p.m. when he was standing shoulder to shoulder with Thomas. He knew the reason he went to Manhattan was to save a life, but he didn't understand why until 4 years later, while learning about the law of attraction and the power of the universe. Drew was convinced it was Thomas who transmitted the vibrational frequency directly out into the universe. Drew was positive that he was the one attracted to it and ultimately transported to that precise location at 2:47 p.m. But guess what? It really didn't matter whether or not Drew or Thomas knew about the law of attraction. The result would have been the same. Let's never forget what we think about, we bring about. The law of attraction's working all the time, 24/7, 365. That's what kept Thomas alive. That's what saved his life. That's what saved his life. To save a life. Drew Milestone continues to gain knowledge about the law of attraction. He will occasionally take the A train to Manhattan as a reminder and relive that special moment in time when his life was intertwined with Thomas. Thomas Summerfield and his family returned to Sydney, Australia, and he apparently learned his lesson from his near-death experience. As a result, he's been stone cold sober since that day and living happily ever after, forever praising the power of the universe. And the law of attraction continues to bring harmony and balance into our lives and is never, never late.